I hadn't intended starting like this, actually, but what I'm going to say is tonight I fell in love for the first time in many, many years. Helen, I'm completely flabbergasted by the show that you put on tonight.
Your ghast is flabbered?
Absolutely. It was fantastic.
Well, that's very kind of you, thank you.
I'm sure that I'm speaking for all the audience out there. It was terrific.
Well, they were a lovely audience, actually.
Can we go back many, many years? How does a young slip of a girl, which is what you were when you hit the charts, how does a young slip of a girl come to get a hit record just like that with no previous excursions into the charts?
Pure luck, as it happens. It has to be. Just being at the right place at the right time. In my case, when I started out, there were no girls, particularly young girls around. In America, yeah, but in this country, the main female singers were Pet Clark and Shirley Bassey, who weren't in the pop field at all. So it was open for somebody to do the pop stuff. And I was there just at that right time. It was pure luck. Pure timing.
You say you were there. What exactly were you doing? Because you're only, what, 14 years of age?
Yeah, I was 14 when my first record came out, but I had been going to a singing school for a year that had a bit of a name for getting people started in the business. And I was there when I was 13, right the way through. And my teacher, who was a gentleman named Morris Berman, who used to play in one of the big bands, and then he worked for Melody Maker, got Norrie Paramore's assistant from Columbia Records to see me, when he figured I was ready, that is, who liked me, gave me a recording test, and then and I was accepted for, I was given a contract, and then this fellow, John Schroeder, who was Norrie's assistant, then wrote my first song, Don't Treat Me Like a Child, because they thought that I shouldn't be singing sort of real heavy love songs at 14, so they wrote that specially for me. And it was a sleeper, mind you, it didn't go in straight away, but bang, once it went, it shot right up, and like I say, luck and timing, definitely. Plus, I suppose the schoolgirl thing was a bit of a novelty, you know.
Yeah. I remember as a teenager actually falling in love with The Voice. When I first heard the record, and I thought, that is bound to be number one. It wasn't quite number one, was it?
No, that was about 3 or 4,
yeah.
Which was very nice, thank you.
And you followed that with...
Yeah, You Don't Know was my next record, which is the ballad, which went to number 1. Then Walking Back to Happiness, which went to number 1. What did I have then? Tell Me What He Said, number 2. Little Miss Lonely, number 5.
You didn't sing tonight.
No, well, there were a lot I didn't sing, but I'd have been here all night, you see. Little Miss Lonely, I think got to number 5. Let's Talk About Love was number 10. Keep Away From Other Girls, Queen for Tonight were all in the top 10. Fever. There were about 7, I think, altogether. But the biggest seller of all of them was Walking Back to Happiness, which is the one that most people seem to remember.
Yeah, it's easy to latch on to that one.
It's a very, very easy number, and yet I didn't like it, you know, when it was first played to me. I liked the song that was written for the B-side better. It shows you what a good judge I am, doesn't it?
Which was?
It was a thing called Kiss and Run, which Norrie wrote.
Terrific.
Yeah, I liked that better. But, of course, they were right. I mean, that sold about 900,000.
Yeah.
Who can argue with that?
Listening to it tonight, actually, it didn't seem dated in any way. Is it the kind of song that could possibly be revived with a 1976 type beat?
I very much doubt it. See, to me it sounds dated. I'm not mad about the song, I'll be honest with you. I'm not knocking it. It's just my own taste. That particular number I don't think could be revived. I mean, things like Whoop Bar, Yeah Yeah and stuff like that. No, it would take a very clever arranger to make something out of that. But the one that I think could be and made something of is You Don't Know, which is a very, very pretty tune. And the words are good. If they knock the whoa whoa and yeah yeah off the end, you know, they could make, somebody could have a hit with that now. Maybe I'll try myself.
It'd be nice of it.
I'd like it, yes.
Of course, you've changed your style so much since those days.
Well, not really. You see, this is what a lot of people think. My style has always leaned towards a jazz influence since I was 5 years old. Doing songs like Don't Treat Me Like a Child, Walking Back to Happiness and that, those were songs that were given to me to sing. They weren't particularly my style.
Yeah.
So that was the change of style, if you know what I mean. But on stage, I always did some blues stuff, or something that was a bit more gutsy, if you like. And now, of course, I can't go out and sing out-and-out jazz and stuff like that, so I sing, I suppose if you can call it soul music, which is contemporary jazz, really. It's all from the same roots.
Yeah.
Just different branches of jazz, and that's what, to me, what sort of funky sort of kind of music is, and that's what I enjoy doing.
You're doing songs by great composers, Stevie Wonder, Bill Withers,
Oh yeah,
Vale.
good, isn't they?
Della Reese.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I believe it is, actually. Yeah, I love it.
Would you rather sing jazz, though?
Not necessarily, not now. At one time I would. But I've grown very respectful of the contemporary black artists now and what they're producing. It's very, very high standard of musicianship and writing. And so I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing. For the first time, you know, really.
I thought for a while tonight that I wonder if Helen would like to have been born black.
Maybe if I was black, I'd probably be getting somewhere now doing what I'm doing. But I still think there's time. You know, I'm not in my dotage yet, thank goodness. And we're doing a lot of work around the country, and I'm going to be starting to get in the studios again within the next month or so. So you might be hearing a new single from me, maybe by the end of the year.
What kind of material?
Oh, it'll be very representative of what I'm doing. We haven't even looked for the material yet. There's such a wealth of good material about.
Because you're very lucky, you've got 3 great musicians with you.
Knockout.
How did you come upon them?
Well, the fellow who plays the keyboards, Bill Coleman, he's been with me for 3 years. He was just sort of recommended by somebody. I needed a bass player, and he was recommended because he plays bass first. And he came along and went on keyboards. And then he knew the bass player, and the bass player knew the drummer. It was one of those things. And it all fell together because they've all worked together before for people like Jimmy Ruffin and Jimmy James and the Vagabonds and Kiki Dee and all sorts of people. So it's a very tight combination. And they've been with me now for 3 years, and hopefully they'll be here for a lot longer.
Hopefully, because they do compliment you fully.
Well, it's great. You develop a sort of a thing over the years, you know, sort of an empathy on stage, and everybody knows what everybody else is at and thinking and doing, you know, which is great.
Well, when you first came into the business, girl singers were a problem. There weren't many around, and there weren't many being accepted. Here we are, whatever number of years it is later, and it's still the same thing. What is it with girl singers? They just don't catch on.
It's a thing peculiar to this country. Actually, you'll notice that in America the girls do well, and on the continent they love girl singers. In fact, every other country, you know, girls go down a wow everywhere. But this country, for some reason, I don't know. It could be because the majority of record buyers are girls, and therefore they'd be more inclined to buy fellas. I really don't know. Maybe it's that. And girls are more demonstrative towards their idols or whatever than fellas are. It could be any number of reasons, but it is peculiar to this country. Can't be more, you know, precise than that, really.
Over the years, you've been involved in TV, radio, films, and doing big tours overseas as headline star. Do you miss those days?
I still do. All the tours and I still headline wherever I go.
Yeah, but not quite in the, you know, this is Helen Shapiro, who's currently in the charts at #1.
Oh, well, no, of course it can't be, but when I go to other countries, I'm treated like, you know, like a queen, which is great.
So you should.
Well, it's lovely. It's just, they always say, you know, what do they say? It's a prophet who's without honour in his own country. Not that I'm a prophet, but, you know, people abroad appreciate you more than in your home country. It's always the same.
This is very true.
Although, you know, I do find that the audiences are great here, you know, I mean, I do go down well, but it's still a thing, oh, well, you know, I'm part of everyday life sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, but we've come along here tonight now. We've all been won over by you totally. I'm sure that goes...
Well, that's great.
Very few exceptions, and they were stoned out of their mind. They couldn't have appreciated anything. How come that we just don't see you on television every other week? And
well, as much as I would love to... Well, the television part would probably come with being in the charts, I would imagine. So that's the first thing to do. Otherwise, it's not easy to get on television. You can see for yourself, they use a lot of the same faces over again. You got to be lucky or be friendly or whatever, I don't know. But I'm biding my time. I know it'll come. I'm confident anyway. If I can't be confident, well, nobody else will be.
But just for example now, you've just suddenly decided, I want to be back in the charts again.
Well, I've always wanted to be, actually.
Yeah. How can you actually go about achieving that?
By having a decent record out for a start. I haven't had a single that I have believed 100% in for a good few years. And I think that's the first thing, choice of material. Because people nowadays aren't buying artists, they're buying records. And they'll buy a record, I don't think they'll even bother who it is. It's not a question of singing the telephone directory and getting in the charts anymore, like it was when we started. We being me and all the others at that time. So, first of all, the right material. Secondly, of course, a very difficult thing these days is to get the thing played on the radio. particularly on national radio, Radio 1, you know, they have their playlist, which is 40, I think, maybe plus a few new spins.
That's right.
And of course, I don't know, there must be 200-300 singles released a week, so you've got to be lucky there.
It's a bit akin to payola in a way.
Not really, because it's the producers who choose. The panel meets and they decide what's going to be on. And really, as far as I know, maybe I'm naive, what they say goes, and you know, nobody else can change
I'm not suggesting
it.
there's money involved, but if you're in the top 40, you will get played.
That's true,
It
yeah.
seems to be the wrong way to run a business from a show business point of view.
It's the same with Top of the Pops. You know, you'll get on Top of the Pops if you're in the top 30.
Yeah.
And maybe one new spin, maybe they'll play.
Is there nothing the Musicians Union can do about this?
I shouldn't think so. It's a separate thing altogether. Besides, the Musicians Union can't complain. They, the people on, say, Top of the Pops, have to re-record. They can't monitor their records or anything. They have to use the musicians that are there.
It's must be a bit soul-destroying for artists.
Yeah, it is a bit.
You
It's
make a
not easy.
single, and there's no guarantee it's ever going to be played.
No, there's no guarantee of anything like that. You're going to be lucky, you know. Maybe if enough disc jockeys like your record, they can have influence with the producers, I should imagine. Anyway, this is why I hope that the commercial stations will get stronger and stronger. It's no good, you know, monopolies. I don't approve of monopolies, really.
The trouble is there isn't money in the country to support.
Yeah, especially at this time. It's although I must say in London, Capital is doing wonderfully. The majority of people in London listen to Capital now. Now, if all the other stations were to do as well as that, that would be great. I don't want to knock the BBC, but you got to have people have got to have a chance. You see, the public as well.
Are there any artists in show business that you've, I won't say modelled your singing on, but certainly taking hints from?
I can't think. Not now, anyway, that's for sure. Possibly at the beginning, I was fairly influenced by Ella Fitzgerald, which is ridiculous because I can't sing a note like Ella Fitzgerald. I mean, I should only have half the talent of her and I'd be happy. She's my all-time favourite, you may have gathered. But now, from then on, I don't really think in terms of trying to be like other artists. It's wrong anyway, to be like... And maybe unconsciously, I don't know. But I don't set out, that's for sure, to be influenced by anybody.
Are there any you particularly admire?
Oh, many. People you mentioned earlier on, for a start, people like Stevie Wonder and Bill Withers, and mostly Americans, I'm afraid to say.
Actually.
Oh, the girls? Well, Ella, the old girl. Gosh, you know, it's funny. Gladys Knight, I admire very much indeed, and Aretha Franklin. Not many white girls. Dusty Springfield I always thought was good, and it, you know, I think she spoiled herself.
She's still in the States?
Yeah, I believe she is. I don't know what she's doing over there, but it's a shame because she's so talented. All she has to do is make one record and she'll be back at the top, but it seems that she's not too bothered, which is a shame. I don't like to see talent wasted. But there you go.
Well, thank you very much indeed for your time, Helen. You've had a hard time on stage.
Well, I've enjoyed myself.
You obviously did, yes.
Mm.
This is one of the things that comes across. You're enjoying yourself.
Well, it's because I'm doing what I like to do, which is great.
Well, I hope that we're going to see you in the charts very, very soon.
Well, thank you.
When are you going in the studios?
It'll be in about 3 weeks' time, actually.
Also, hopefully in a few months' time.
Hopefully by the end of the year, I keep my fingers crossed, that you should be hearing. I also hope that you'll be hearing, that is, a new single.
Helen for Christmas, that would be nice.
That would be great. I'll do my best. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Helen.
Thank you.